Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
How come you don't dance to their intro music and outro music? How do you do that? It's like I tell people sometimes when there's a good beat going, it's like if you don't do anything like this, like it's almost like you got no soul.
No, this beat has been in my life for like 8 years, and it's not like a Michael Jackson beat, so it's not something that I ever danced to.
We need a Michael intro or outro, right? Yeah.
So before we went on the break, we were talking about things that we want to request from each other, and I believe you left off, so it's my turn. I have a request that it kind of, I guess, generated from a situation that happened last night when we were having, family time and hanging out. And
it was fun last night, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so one of the things that I want to request from you is, your request of being patient kind of inspired me, but maybe you could be, more understanding of me and the things that I'm going through right now. I know that last night, everybody was trying to have family time and everything, but I was trying to do my homework, and I know I could have gone to my room and did my homework, but I wanted to be a part of it. And I invited a friend over to do homework together. And, so yesterday when we were all having fun and messing around, it was a little bit distracting, but I still wanted to be a part of it. And I kept asking you guys, hey, can you be a little bit more understanding that I have homework and, I'm busy or whatever. But you kept bugging me about some design things. And so when I told you, hey, leave me alone, I'm busy. Why do you keep asking me? Ask somebody else. And I was probably a little bit annoyed. And you said, because you're creative. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, I'll help you. So for me, I guess, I like that you're that way, and maybe I'm not the most creative one, but that was a way for me to say, you know what, let me put this down and do this, because one, it was a compliment, and two, I genuinely do feel like I can contribute to certain things. So
yeah, I hear your request and I accept that. And so in some of the requests, I'm not going to justify what I did, but I do want to explain it so maybe you can see what was my, what I was looking at from my side. From my side, I was looking at, in my mind, I was telling myself, okay, if they really wanted quiet and to study, because I also know that young kids have trained themselves to study around noise. Some kids, they put on their headphones and, they're doing their homework and they're like doing like this, listen to music. And a lot of Generation X parents or baby boomer parents, they can't wrap their mind around how kids can be stimulated and be so distracted and still, do their homework. And so what I've learned about kids, especially, the Generation Y, is that they grew up in a world where they're so stimulated that sometimes the stimulation and the noise and the music helps them actually focus and zero in even more. So I kind of leaned on that a little bit and trusted that if you guys really wanted that, quiet time, that you would have went into your room. So I made an assumption, and, shame on me for making the assumption that you wanted to be a part of both and that you could handle it. And that was an assumption I made. And I just told myself if they really wanted it, they will just excuse themselves. But on top of that, part of what I was asking you for in that creative project that I had asked you if you would support me in that, because I wanted to give you an opportunity to be a part of that whole project. And to be honest with you, when I turned it around and showed everybody, I felt like you were giving me the best feedback. So that's why I stuck with you. And that's why I kept asking you. And I didn't take in consideration that you were trying to focus on something. And maybe I should have been a little bit more attentive and noticed that you were getting frustrated, especially at the end when you just said, okay, my brain is fried,
Yeah. And I think I did set myself up to be in that position because I did want to be in both. Or like you said, I would have left. But I know that in my experience, because of my past, when I leave a room, I know that everyone thinks it's so dramatic, like, oh, she's angry now. So I know what that's like. But now
when you do that, when you do the whole dramatic thing, we just go, ooh.
Right. So
we just let you, and that's you just, dealing with what you need to deal with. And that's part of us not taking it personal. Because 12 years ago, we probably all would have, got all dramatic about you being dramatic. But now we just go, ooh, like, we know that's right. Your stuff. And the same thing if something gets me upset or I walk off, and then hope you guys just go, oh, hope he's figured it out, trust that I'll make sense of it and then later on come back and apologize.
And you know what? I also want to point out too that all these requests are I guess, can be altered in situations. So when your kid gives you a request, or for me, when my parents give me a request, not to take it so literal and so seriously, because every situation is different.
But I don't think that the average person or family is even requesting. They haven't been taught how to request. So what it looks like is when your son or daughter rolls their eyes and goes, Mom, you don't get me. And they slam the door and they walk down the hall, storm down the hall and into the room. And you're standing there going, what did I say? There's a request in there that you can't hear, you can't see, because it's underneath all the dramatic slamming the door and huffing and puffing and saying, oh, Mom, you don't get me. So you have to find what the request is, and then you have to sit down with your son or daughter and then create that kind of environment where you guys can ask requests instead of unconsciously reacting to things or blowing up. So it's something you have to teach your family. And not only do you have to teach it, but you have to practice it yourself, and or maybe be the first one that introduces it to the family by making your own requests of people.
Yeah, and this idea of requests, it's kind of new. I mean, at least for us, I don't really remember having very many requests as a kid, but I know that in high school, I had a lot of requests from you, and it was mostly about letting you in and letting you be a part of my life, and coming to you if I needed anything. And that's how it really all started. And it probably took a couple of years or months or however long before I came to you with my first request on my own. So it all starts with you. Even if a very conscious kid is listening to this show right now and learns about this, I don't see them coming to you, Mom, can we sit down and have a request?
Yeah, that's stage 4. Stage 1 looks like the parent says, hey, son, hey, daughter, if you have requests of me, please let me know what they are. Or you're practicing asking the son or daughter with a request, like, hey, I have a request from you. Yeah, what is it? I'm going to go to the grocery store. When I come back, will you support me in bringing those in, because my shoulder's not up to par, or, I have a request of you to help me out here. So you have to practice teaching people what a request looks like through your own practice and your own example of what it looks like. And when you get good at it, the other person starts to participate in it, and then little seeds are planted. And then 3 or 4 months from now, your 13-year-old comes up to you and goes, Mom, I have a request from you. And you go, yeah, inside you go, yes. It's starting to, those seeds are starting to, blossom, and the plants are starting to come out.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like, you've been asking me this my whole life, but every time I'm in a situation or stuck, you always say, and my mom always say, how can I support you? And for me,
or what do you need from me?
Right. And for me, even those little things open the doors for me to be able to later come and say, hey, I'm going through this, and this. Do you mind if you guys support me in X, Y, and Z?
Now, I love that. Are you ready for some feedback?
Yes.
Okay. So right before that, because let's say 2 days ago we said, hey, we know this is a challenging time. Let me know what you need from me, or how can we support you? And you go, okay, I will. And then so now 2 days have gone by, and it's not at that proposition I just handed you, because I'm totally 100% willing to do that. But now it's not the forefront of my mind. So when you come back to revisit that, it would be great for you to tee it right back up again. Hey, a couple of days ago, you said whatever I needed. Now, when you said that, all of a sudden my ears are like, and I bring that commitment to the forefront of my mind. So now as you're asking me, it's basically I'm seeing you holding me accountable to giving you my word. So that's going to help you go from a 60% effective response from me to getting a 98 or a 99 response to going, absolutely, let's do this.
Okay, that's really good feedback, because I would have just came up to you and said, hey, do you think maybe you guys could spot me some money because I need it for this?
Exactly, but you won't. But you probably wouldn't have said, because remember, a couple of days ago you said that you would support me or let me know what you need, and this is what I need. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're right, I did say that. If I ain't got it, I'm going to figure out how to get it, because I told you that I would. So you teeing it up and re-prefacing it again, reminding me that that's the commitment I made to you, or this is what I said to you, is you're going to get a higher percentage of absolutely or yes, let's do this. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So here's one of my other requests that I wrote down is, if you ever feel angry, annoyed, or upset with me, that you come straight to me and give me the opportunity to clean it up rather than either venting it to your friends or going to your sister and you guys get in the little room and you guys, talk trash or be the victim to me or anything like that, or even just holding on to gripes, holding on to resentments. Just come straight to me and go, hey, you said something to me last night, or hey, I asked you for something or a request and you ignored me. What's up with that? Like, you have permission to call me on things, and I want to have that kind of relationship where you call me out on stuff. But more importantly, I want you to give me the first opportunity to clean stuff up, because sometimes I do things I don't realize that were offensive to you, and I want to be the first person to go, wow, I'm so sorry that you felt like that. That wasn't my intention. I want to be able to clean that up so that we can always just keep cleaning the table and stuff doesn't get stuck on there and that we overlook, because that stuff gets in the way of our relationship.
And I feel like, for me at least, I'm comfortable enough to go up to you and say, hey, Dad, this happened and I want to talk about it. But I think and on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not even a 10 on that. I'm probably like a 7 or a 6. But that's years and years of you coming up to me and saying, hey, we need to talk about this, instead of brushing things under the rug, because there's been so many times where I just wanted to, put it away in the back of my shelf, and you come up and we got to talk about what you did or your attitude or whatever. So for me, I'm not the kind of person now in any of my relationships where I want to brush stuff under the rug. I like hold on to it until I finally get the chance to say what I want to say, because I've been taught to, let it all out and
hash it out.
Yeah. Figure it. Yeah.
Flush it up.
Yes.
Let it go. Surrender it.
Yes. All those
free
things.
myself up to be in the relationship wholeheartedly and recommitted to what's next.
Yeah. So just so you know, and I guess this could be a request for me too, is that if you feel like there's, I don't know, bad blood or whatever, an issue that's going on or whatever with you and I need to talk about it. So even though I'm not coming to you to talk about it, maybe what it looks like is you and this kind of is not ideal, but if you could come to me and just keep bugging me until I finally say, okay, you know what, this is what I'm upset about, because I need to talk about stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna bug you. I bug you all the time. So, but yeah, now knowing that, but you also got to know that I'm not sitting there also trying to. I don't like you in one breath. You can't say don't take stuff personal, and then I'm trying to take stuff personal and reflect and try to figure out what I did. So you got to also know that if you're telling me don't take things personal, I'm just assuming it has nothing to do with me, and I'm just letting it go. But I am always observing and watching you and your sister, and checking in and seeing if the gut radar goes off to see if you guys need my intervention or you need me to ask you if you want to talk or create an open, loving space for you to step into and have a conversation. So I'm always looking at that.
Okay, good. Because I feel like a lot of your requests and my requests can go hand in hand.
They absolutely 100% go hand in hand. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because it's giving me more insight of how to be more effective in the relationship with you. This isn't about having, a lot of people say, I want to have they use words like right and wrong. There's nothing right or wrong about your relationship. We're just in a world where you have to ask yourself, how effective do I want to be at communicating so that the results are effective themselves? I want to start taking out words of judgment where, I have a bad relationship or this relationship's not that good. Take those judgments out and let's use the word effective. Our relationship isn't as effective as I would like it to be. Our communication isn't effective. It doesn't appear that you're hearing what I'm actually saying. So let me figure out how to say it in a different way so that I learn how to articulate myself. So what I'm saying is actually being interpreted 90% spot on. Because a lot of times I might be saying something and you're hearing something totally different and you're making up your own reality about what I'm saying. So it's work. It's work for us to get done.
I have a request if I can go. One of my bigger requests is to understand that sometimes you probably see me way up here and my hands really high. You probably see me way up here, but I don't feel way up here. I feel, a little bit lower or down. And just because you've seen me do great things or things that you think, I could do better or whatever, just because you've seen that doesn't mean I'm always at that place. So, I guess as an example, just because Tony Hawk did a really cool trick when he was 20 doesn't mean he could still do it now, and same everybody, Michael Jordan, whoever, whatever that picture looks like for you. Sometimes I'm not, 100% about myself, or sometimes I'm not 100% focused on that. And when I do great things, or I do things that impress you, or things that you love to see me do, or whatever, sometimes I'm just not there. And I need you to understand that. I guess sometimes expecting those things from me.
And I hear what you're saying. And I need you to know that I don't expect that from you. I'm just there to remind you that I've seen it. I'm just there to remind you that I believe that you're capable of it. But you got to know that I don't expect you to do anything. I, love you so much that if you choose not to be Tony Hawk today, you have permission to not be Tony Hawk. You don't have to hit 360s. You don't have to do all that. I just want you to say, you know what, Dad? Thank you for reminding me that I am Tony Hawk, but today I don't feel like getting on my skateboard. And I'm like, cool, let's sit down and let's, go out in the backyard and stare at the birds and just hold hands and spend some quality time together. But I hope you don't think that I have these high expectations that I want you to hit or I need you to hit. It's your life. It's not mine. I just want to be there for you to remind you that you're special and that you're one of a kind, and sometimes I don't got to tell you, hey, I watch you do those 360s. You don't have to do them all the time, and of course I don't expect it, but I know that you got it in you. And if you can't do a 360, you can still enjoy being on the skateboard. So when you want to quit, or when you want to say, just because I hit it once, don't expect me to keep doing it. I don't expect you to keep doing it, but what I do want for you and yearn for you is for you to continue to be passionate about what you love to do, and maybe me sharing that out loud to you helps you not to have any high expectations to the point where you have to hit those consistently. But I do want you to have your own expectations, high expectations for yourself. I don't want you to give up. And so that's why I'm there you don't have to hit the 360s all the time, but I just don't want you to give up. I want you to believe in yourself.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
We have to take a break, but stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. This week we are talking about our father-daughter relationship and the requests that we...
Donald Trump, I got to mess with my mic and fiddle with it the whole time.
If you're not already watching on Facebook, you have to just watch later just for that part. But so we're talking about our requests and our relationship.
Wrong.
No, stop. I told you not to do that joke today. You have one more request. That's probably all the time we have left, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away.
Yeah, the last request I have is for you to be honest with your feelings about, wanting time for yourself instead of rejecting me or pushing me away, or all the drama that you've already acknowledged. Is just be honest. I think as you and I grow and get a little older and get a little more wiser, and I think it's really boils down to being more honest with what's coming up for ourselves, including myself. Instead of the whole unconscious games that we play to protect ourselves or put our wall up or push people away, instead of doing all that, why don't we just give ourselves permission to just be honest and say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm not in a good mood right now. I just need a timeout, or I just need to collect my thoughts. And as I'm asking that request of you, I'm kind of reflecting back on myself and saying, I need to practice that too. So how about we make it a double request, that we both, just practice being a little bit more clear about what's underneath what we're feeling. And I think if we reveal our feelings more and we share more honestly, the other person is going to be more compassionate about it and more likely not take it personal, right? Like if you shared with me that, you just had a bad day as you're walking in and ignoring me, I had a bad day, I'm going to my room, then automatically that's a symbol for letting me know that, oh, okay, so nothing that I've done or that I said that you're holding on to stuff. It helps people get clarity on it.
I hear you, and I have to acknowledge that I don't do that. I don't, straight up say and be honest with you or myself and say, hey, I'm having a bad day, because I go back to like I said in my number one request, just assuming that you aren't going to take it personally and assuming that you know that I'm doing my own thing and I need space. I just assume those things because I know that you know them, but I forget that people need to be reminded. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to remember that every single time. And I know that when you get in your moods or when you're upset that I don't remember those things. I'm like, fine, don't ask me for anything. You do the whole
and that's when we allow ourselves to unconsciously get tagged. Take stuff personal, get tagged, and then we both go into reaction. And then I'm reacting, you're reacting. And what happens is we react to different stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 5, stage 7, and to the point where one of us can't take anymore, and then it's fine, I'm out of here, and the door gets slammed. And this is a common picture that I'm painting for not just, dads and daughters or husbands and sons, but husbands and wives. It's when we're unconscious like that, we just go into resistance and reaction. We go from level 1 to 3 to 5 to 7. But one of us in that relationship has a tolerance level where we can't take it no more. And then that's where we end up either, fine, I'm out of here. I'm packing my bags and I'm going to my mom's house so the awareness is realizing that instead of being unconsciously being in resistance to things, how about if we just become honest? What if it just takes one of us to stop and say, hey, you know what? I'm just having a bad day right now. We don't need to keep escalating this argument and keep poking at each other and because I love you, right? Oh, is that Mike?
Is that Michael? No. Are we going out on Michael?
No, bring that in. Bring that up. Bring that in. There you go.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on My Conscious Dad. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
That's what I'm